All right, I will get started then. Hi, my name is Heidi. I'll give a formal introduction in just a second, but I am the VP of Community and Partnerships here at Cherub. But without further ado, let's get into it. So today we're going to be going over a virtual tour and open house of Cherub. If you're not familiar with Cherub, you will be by the end of this call. Um, so let's go ahead and get started here. So this is what we're going to go over. We're going to meet the team briefly. I'm going to talk about what Cherub is, give you some facts and stats, talk a little bit about the investors and the founders that are on our platform, and then our lovely co-founder Ange is here. She is going to give you a full live tour of the platform and show you how it works from a founder's perspective. That is the meat of this presentation. And then beyond the online platform, we're going to talk about kind of how we interact and how active we are outside of screens and IRL. So people are still trickling here. So bear with us as we're clicking around the screen. So first and foremost, our co-founders. These two ladies are extreme powerhouses. Both of them have multiple exits between them. So Jacqueline Johnson, you might know from Create and Cultivate. She built a multi-million-dollar business. She sold it over COVID for 22 million and then recently bought it back. But in between the time of her selling it and buying it back, she started Cherub with Angeline. These two have been friends for 20 years, over 20 years, maybe. You can correct me on that fact later. But they met at a young age when they were working together and decided to join because they found such a pain point in the industry for people who wanted to angel invest in category defining companies. Um, in true LA fashion, they were going on a hike. I checked, it wasn't Runyon Canyon, but they were just chatting about how they couldn't find really cool companies to invest in. And as exited founders, they wanted to give back to that founder community that they came from. So Angeline is also an exited founder. She was in product at Open Door and Hulu, and her company was acquired, and she rode the wave all the way to an IPO. So both of these ladies have sat on both sides of the table as both being like a founder and a builder as well as an angel investor. And I can't think of a better team to be launching something like the Cherub platform for that reason. So as I said, I'll do a formal introduction. I am a 2-decade bootstrapping founder turned angel investor as well. I was actually an early adopter of Cherub's platform as an angel, and I've done some deals on Cherub. That's how I came to know about them. I founded my largest company, which is now going on 17 years old, in 2009 called Raw Artists. I started it from my kitchen table, $0, grew it to a multi-million-dollar Inc. 5000 fastest growing company, had 65 employees, and I went on that entire journey bootstrapping, which depending on the day you ask me, is either the best decision or the worst decision. Um, but I've had 2.5 modest exits, not as big as Jacqueline's or Angeline's, but I'm also an angel investor in 13 companies, including Oddly, if you're familiar, Canva, and Nomadic Wine. So again, all three of us on the team here have sat on both sides of the table, and I think that's really important for building this product and this platform. So what is Cherub? If you've heard about it online, if you have heard about it through the community, you probably just know one facet of us, and that is our angel investor matching. So we have over 1,000 vetted and verified accredited angel investors on our platform, and our proprietary algorithm matches both founders and angel investors together. We're going to show you kind of how that works. That's how you might know us, but what you don't know and what we are building is this very robust tool set of a centralized place for founders to put all of their fundraising assets in one secure location. So this has to do with anything that you need for fundraising, including um, You're including your pitch deck, your data room, videos, and private links. We're trying to create a secure and customizable, what we call a raise room for you to put all of your assets in one location. So you can send those to people inside and outside the Chera platform. So if you're currently sending out Google Sheet links and things of that nature, those are not protected and they can be passed around very easily. I know because I've sat on the table getting those from founders and also have seen them pass between investors that maybe weren't supposed to have that kind of information. So Cherub is really building something secure and also customizable, aesthetically pleasing, and branded to your company. So we're going to show you what that looks like in a second. We are also pairing all of that storage of data with the ability for you to look at the analytics, see who's lingering on what pages, gain insights onto kind of what's interesting investors the most. You can also see how many times an investor has what type of investor and how many times they've visited your page, and what page in particular, so that you can get kind of more insights and chisel down your pitch. So these are kind of the robust set of tools, and this is only the beginning. We have a lot more planned for you guys, but again, we're going to give you a tour of that in just a second. Okay. So over our short 18 months, we are a startup ourselves. We have saved people a ton of time. So if you are fundraising right now or you're thinking about fundraising, I don't know very many places you can go and meet and introduce yourself to over 1,000 angel investors. You'd have to probably comb through LinkedIn. You'd have to pinpoint, someone who's labeled themselves as an angel investor and then cross your fingers and hope that, one, they're actively deploying, two, that they're even interested in your sector. It's very time intensive and it's very not fun. Right? Like this is a journey, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. Um, but we are hoping to shave a ton of time off of that process. And with our AI powered algorithm on the platform, with our AI powered algorithm, we help match investors and founders to make sure that they are the right fit before you even have the conversation. So neither of you guys are wasting each other's time. So we match you by check size, by thesis, by industry sector, etc. So this makes fundraising and the entire process like totally a more delightful experience than trying to go through LinkedIn and pitch a bunch of strangers. Some facts and stats over the course of the last 18 months that we have been in existence, over $5 million has flowed through our platform to Cherub founders, which is quite amazing and I think almost unheard of. Um, we were surprised by this too because we're pretty young. So that is an incredible amount of traction and dollars that have gone to um, founders on our platform. So that's something we're definitely proud of, and that number is rising every day. We have over 1,000 accredited angel investors on our platform, as I mentioned. We've also saved founders an average of $2,400 per fundraise because they can ditch tools like DocSend. They can have a more secure location to place all of their items. And over 2,000 deals have been done on the platform to date. So there is obviously this pain point for both founders and for funders is being realized through Cherub. And the proof is kind of in the pudding here. So I put this last stat, which doesn't really have much to do with us, but more the landscape in general. So everyone on this call can kind of go into if you're fundraising or getting ready to fundraise, kind of set your expectations. So on average, this is an average, it takes first-time founders typically about 18 months to raise and close a seed round. If you are pre-seed, this can take even longer. So there are some different sides to the spectrum, and depending on your relationships, if you've warmed up a lot of, leads and investors, this could shrink. But overall, we want everyone to understand that when you're going into the fundraising journey, that there is a period of time that you should mentally prepare for as you are raising, that this doesn't happen overnight. Okay, so who are the investors on Cherub, if you're curious? I'm sure that's a question you guys have. We have over 1,000 angel investors, as I mentioned. Angel investors typically write checks, and again, this ranges. It's kind of like everyone has their own taste and their own thesis as an individual, but most angels are writing checks between 5 and 20K. If you've ever wondered the difference between a venture capitalist and an angel. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But we do have some venture capitalist firms and funds on our platform. They're a smaller percentage at this present time, but we envision that growing. But mainly we're focused on angel investors because they get their name for good reason. Angels typically are high net worth individuals who want to put their money to work in a way that creates impact and also be able to provide value to the companies that they are investing in. So they're typically, expecting a less return than a big VC fund. So 10 to 20% return on their investment. A VC fund typically is essentially unicorn hunting, and they're looking for 100 times return when they're investing in early stage companies. So they are typically looking for companies that are big ideas, that are vastly scalable, that are going to go, gangbusters. Angels see value in companies that will grow, but don't need to be, the next TechCrunch, headline. So the difference between angels and venture capitalists or venture capital funds are typically that they are looking at companies different. They want different sizes of growth. And that's why we find, I think, as a team, and then for this thesis and mission, Angel's a great place to start and a great place for early stage founders to raise first and be able to kind of prove their traction before they go to big funds. So here are examples of some of the angels that are on our platform currently. So we do have venture capital firms, as I mentioned. We do have notable founders and angels like Ali Webb. And then we have high net worth angels that you've probably never heard about, not out there on social media, but they are very interested in investing in companies on Cherub and at this early stage. So these are just a few examples. Again, we have lots more. Oops. So who are Cherub founders? We broke this down by industry, and there is some overlap here. But you can kind of see the different types of industry sectors that founders are building in on the platform right now. Health and wellness is a big one, and it's a trend right now. So that makes complete sense. Some of these overlap, like there might be a consumer brand that's also kind of health and wellness. So, but for the most part, you can kind of get an idea of the different types of industries. We welcome founders from any industry on the platform, and typically people are pre-seed to Series A, so more early stage. Um, the things that I notice anecdotally as we are working on building out even more data and collecting that from our community is that if you have a product or service already in market and you've had some traction and you've had some sales, you'll do really well on the platform. Pre-seed is a little harder. It's not, out of the question, but it definitely is a harder sell at the moment for a lot of investors. So we want to be transparent with that information up front. But we have options if you're in pre-seed land as well. So a couple examples of founders that have had some great success on our platform. If you're familiar with Nomadica Wine, that's one of the deals that I did on the platform. She's all over the internet. She raised an oversubscribed seed round through Cherub. She raised over $250,000. And we also have Ankita. She sat next to an investor at one of our IRL dinners who took her entire pre-seed round. We don't, we're not sharing some of the financial information on purpose as a request of the founder. But entire pre-seed round just taken. And then we Truro raised their entire bridge round on Cherub as well. So these founders are examples of people who made the most of the platform, went to the dinners, got involved, were definitely successes in showing kind of how our matching and just the serendipity of being involved in a community full of founders and funders and what it can create. So, without further ado, we are going to take a little tour on the platform. So we're going to show you how this works from a founder perspective. And I'm going to introduce you to Angeline, our Chief Product Officer, who's going to pop in here and take over for a second and give you and show you all the things.
Yes, excited. Because I will be sharing my screen. If you have questions, leave them in the chat, and then hopefully Priscilla and Heidi can kind of just yell them out loud to me so that I can answer them. Just making sure everybody can hear me all right.
Yes.
Good. Okay, thank you, Heidi. And then I'm going to replace current share, and I am going to give you a quick overview of what is live on the site now. So yes, you can see my screen as well, I would assume. Heidi and P, I can see you. So if you want to give me a nod, all right, we are good to go. Okay, so I will try to keep this brief. We have really robust demos and tutorials. So if you want those, we'll drop those in the chat after this demo, or we'll follow up with an email. But basically, as Heidi mentioned, we are building lots over at Cherub. This is all an example of what is currently live. So with Cherub, you can build a really beautiful raise page. It's basically has been investor tested. We chatted with hundreds of angel investors before launching this experience and really wanted to create a space for founders to put their best foot forward. Because one of the biggest aha moments for us as both founders and investors is that investors are definitely looking at your brand through a different lens. They're not just trying to understand your brand story or kind of even like your consumer value props. It's really what is the traction here that makes this an investable deal, right? And so besides giving people a really clear kind of upfront, okay, this is what the product is in a nutshell through images, here's the tagline, what do we care about, right? And so these are your main traction points that you can then fill in over here. And we've just made it really easy for you to fill out kind of who you are, what you're looking for in an angel investor. You can always get a little help with Cherub AI. We've created a really great experience that's kind of fluent in investor to make sure that you're speaking the right language for investors. And then additionally, this is the very beginnings of our AI-based tagging system. So what you do is you select the top categories that are relevant to your company, and so where you fit in. Then you select any additional characteristics that we've heard that the angel investors on our community are looking to invest in companies that fit. So these are things that could be like, we're already profitable, or we're actually VC backed, or we have over 1 million in revenue, or certain attributes about the founders. And then you also, which is kind of the special sauce, is that this is a double-sided opt-in, and we really believe the value of the platform is going to bring you, more than just money and beyond a check. And so what we ask for you is to set like who your ideal angel investor is, what kind of attributes do they have, so that they can bring more than kind of as Heidi mentioned, even if they're writing a 5K check, can they game change your business and take you to the next level through the expertise that they provide? So you set all of that, and that I will show you determines the matching logic on our end for the investors that you get matched with. So really easy to kind of fill out the key metrics that you have, share what your products are about, give people, if you have a video pitch or some sort of testimonial. We don't have a public data room right now, but we have a robust data room. So I'll share that in a second. Give you some context about, give the investor some context about who you are, any press mentions or testimonials that you have, your use of funds and round, who's invested in your cap table, a snapshot of the team, and additional links that the potential investor can connect with you on. You can hit customize, currently add your branding colors. We are going to be rolling out various templates based on your category pretty soon, which is exciting. And then you hit publish. And so that is basically the Cherub profile creator in a nutshell. So once you have a Cherub profile, once you hit publish as a Cherub Raise member, you basically then will get surfaced in deal flow. So all of those tags and matching that we showed you, what that does is that surfaces potential investors to you. Every Thursday, we have what's called a deal flow drop. So you'll get new matches every Thursday that are relevant to who you're looking for in an angel investor and investors that are looking to invest in companies like you. We haven't checked our deal flow in a hot second, so you can see we have about 226 batches. But from here, you can then go and browse investor profiles. You see kind of where their overlap and like fit is. If you're interested, you can hit tell me more. And so you can see the angel investors profile and what they have. You can always do a little bit more deep dive. And then let's say you're interested in this investor, you can then use one of your intro requests that you have to write them a note and shoot your shot. So I will show you how all of this gets managed. One second. So all of this lives in your deal flow history, which you can track. And so it's sorted by people that have requested you, people that you've sent requests out to. You can see the messages that you sent them and the status. We just recently launched request tracking. So this is why we were testing this feature, but basically, my investor profile requested an intro to Cherub. I did not accept it. So if I were to log on as an investor right now and look at my deal flow history, I would actually see request viewed. So we're doing kind of like more of the funnel tracking and traditional CRM approach. And we're going to be rolling out more and more of those features shortly. So that's your deal flow that gets you curated matches. On top of that, we have essentially what we call like Google Analytics for your fundraise page. So there's in-depth insights. So as you share your Cherub profile, you're going to start to be able to see who's looking at it, how much time they're spending on it, are they clicking on it, how you stack up with the rest of like similar companies on the platform, where people are spending the most time on your page and the most engaged members. So look, there's Heidi, most engaged, which is great because this page is actually hidden. So I'm glad that not everyone is looking at it right now. Additionally, besides the most engaged, you can see total viewers, past viewers, and when they last viewed, and you can click through to their Cherub profile as well as profile clicks. So that is the engagement section that gives you a lot of rich data. Really what it's meant to do in our vision is that we are essentially the link tree for your fundraise, so that we're the one link where you send this to investors and then you can capture all of the data, better understand who's engaging with what, simplify and kind of spend your efforts with the investors that are most engaged as opposed to, the passive ones, so that you understand where you stand. Additionally, so as Heidi mentioned, we have launched, I think over the past few weeks recently, a new data room functionality, which is really exciting. So this essentially replaced everything that people typically pay anywhere from 75 to 150 a month for DocSend for, which is frustrating as a founder myself. So you are able to build a secure data room, manage access to both external links and docs. So you can upload docs and links here. You can add new sections. You choose what's visible in your data room list, and you can fine tune the controls. So really nerdy, kind of very small thing. One thing that we were really frustrated about, Jacqueline and I, was that when we built really beautiful decks or prototypes in Figma and Canva, those links, if we wanted to share, were public to everybody. So we felt like a lack of control around the visibility of who sees what. This actually puts those links on lockdown. So we've stripped out the public URL so you can share, let's say, a Canva or a Figma link, and that user, the end viewer, won't be able to copy and share that with other people. So again, you're better understanding who's spending time in your pipeline. And so with that, with each link, you can fine tune the settings, right? So you can choose where it goes. You can require a Cherub account to view. The setup process is really simple through this flow. The investor just has to create an email and set a password, and that's it. You can then get notified when someone views, and you can see who views, allow downloading, set expiration dates, require passwords, all of that robust stuff. You can also, if you want additional control, add various links for different communities so that you better understand who's coming in from where. And because this is a link, it just says page one because it's one page. But if you had a PDF with multiple pages, you would see that breakdown of who's viewing what and how much time they spent on average in seconds or minutes based off of that document. And from there, you can also see who's visited. And so if they sign in through the short link, it would just be their email. And then if they have a Cherub profile, it would be set up there. So that is the engagement and analytics view of the data room, which is included with your Cherub Raise membership. And then, oh yeah, here's our deck, and here's an example of a Figma deck that's been completely like the published link is hidden. So if you send this, it's completely secure, and you'll be able to know who looked at what. And then additionally, we have the directory. And so this is really for those times you want to go beyond your weekly deal flow drops. You can fill the directory pretty robustly. So for example, if I really want to look at AI investors who are open to just advising, let's say if I'm not actively raising, then I can look through these 54 investor profiles. So you can see that again available to our Cherub Raise members. And that kind of gives you, I would say, like the very quick tour and lay of the land of what Cherub has to offer for founders today. As Heidi mentioned, we're rolling out a lot of features, constantly every week on the back end. We've really built this robust associations table powered by AI. And so what we want to do is expose more tools for you as founders to have the visibility of benchmarks, right? Like so that you're not feeling like you're left alone. You're able to answer like, is it me? Or is it the industry I'm in? Is it the way people are deploying capital right now? To give you a better sense of what's realistic and help you raise faster and close more efficiently. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Heidi, I will let you have it. I heard some pings go, so I assume there might be some questions.
Yeah, I have time for questions at the end, unless do we want to take a few right now, Priscilla? Are there a ton?
We have a few, actually. We
Okay.
have one from Clara. She says, I have enterprise customers but have not raised money, and I'm told that I am pre-seed. In that case, what amount of money do you think would need to be raised to go beyond pre-seed?
Pre-seed, normally it's funny. In the industry, everyone has a different definition of pre-seed, seed, it's Series A, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of like open to interpretation of the fund and the theme or the thesis. But what I would say is that the amount of money you are using has to do with your use of funds and what you're using it for to grow to the next level, whatever that might be. So having enterprise customers is fantastic, and that is a great like traction, indicator and signal to whomever is potentially, interested in investing. But I'd probably have to dig into your case a little bit more particularly to like answer that in full. But I would say that don't get too hung up on the definitions, but typically pre-seed, the way that I look at it, and I feel like it's starting to maybe crystallize a little bit in the industry, is that it's anything before you have customers. If you're raising money before you have customers, you might be more in a seed stage right now if you're trying to go from seed to Series A, but maybe you need to, but there's not like benchmarks, and it's so different per industry. It's so nuanced.
It
So
is, yeah, we've seen per industry for sure. I mean, again, on our back end, one of the associations table elements that we have is like the predictors of what stage you're in based off of your industry and your revenue or traction to date. And so to Heidi's point, like, if you're in healthcare or hardware, pre-seed is like maybe even pre-product, pre-validation, raise millions of dollars in order to even get to the FDA approval process, as an example, in health
right.
tech and hardware. But for Cherub, we consider ourselves specifically when we look to fundraise. Right now, we're kind of in this weird in between phase, I'd say, in stage of pre-seed to seed. So we have traction, we have a product in market, and now we're just proving out the scalability. But again, that's because we are a B2B, SaaS product. So it really does depend on the industry. Sorry, that sounds vague, but it is very specific on that
I think we're
phase.
getting a lot of questions on the stages. I think a lot of
Okay.
people might want clarity. And Angeline, you answered this
Seems like a
question
good
for me.
workshop, maybe,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
our Cherub members.
If you guys want a workshop on this, please let us know in the comments. But Angeline had already answered this question for Janelle, and she had a follow-up question to her question, what it's a pre-seed according to you. Angeline said, if you don't have a product in market yet or limited or no traction, people in the idea stages mileage may vary. And Janelle's follow-up question was, if we have the product and clients but pre-revenue, what will that round be?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that seems to me personally squarely in pre-seed territory.
Mhm.
Pre-revenue feels like pre-seed. It has to be. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, I think like having a pre-seed workshop would be good. I think the context I'm giving you is more like what we've seen work for people on Cherub,
Right.
right? If you have a great idea, but you don't have traction and maybe you don't have a notable founder or you haven't gone through an accelerator, an incubator that people have heard of, or you don't have existing investors or that person isn't notable. I know there's a lot of ors, but we've seen, at this point, thousands of deals. And so I'm just sharing with you what we've seen work on the platform. I would heavily temper your expectations that you can join Cherub and like immediately close your round within 30 days. I think a lot of that, maybe let me reframe it into like what we have seen success in. The opposite of everything I said. Like if you have exited a company before, if you've gone through a notable accelerator, if you have a product in market, you have revenue, you have like happy customers, you have something people can try and experience, or you have notable investors, those people tend to have better chances getting a random stranger essentially to say, yes, I will meet with you. I will, hear what you have to say. And then on top of that, what we've seen is people who really take advantage of the entire Cherub ecosystem, right? So they're using the platform consistently to reach out to people. They might go through the back door and like hit people up on LinkedIn. They attend our events. They really make sure that they get there. I think it's like back in when I was in marketing, I think they'd say like it takes 12 impressions to get like someone to remember you. Like I think people who really work hard to get those 12 impressions definitely see the most success on the platform.
And that's a perfect segue into our boost section. So we will have another Q&A at the end, but in um, respect of everyone's time, because we're supposed to end here in a little less than 10 minutes, let me finish up rounding out the platform for you and what's available offline. Well, this is,
Really quickly, Heidi, do you
yeah,
talk about fees or anything? Because I saw a question about fees.
it's coming up next.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. I will let you do your thing.
Okay. So you also have the ability, once you're a Cherub Raise member, to boost your fundraising. Say you're kicking it off or you're closing it and you have just like a small amount left to do. Those are the two like main use cases that I see people really take advantage of this. We obviously have a pretty strong following on social. We also have a very strong following on email and our open rates are super strong. So we allow our Raise members that are vetted to potentially engage in these extra promotions to get more visibility throughout the site. So those are other things that we have available. You can also pop out of the platform. We have IRL events, community events. We're going to be doing education, it looks like on a pre-seed workshop in the near future. So we invite our Raise members to pop out of the platform, being a part of the community. You have exclusive access. These are invite only. They're not open to the public all the time. I will share there are some hybrid situations, but for the most part, these private dinners, we have pitch dinners, we have mixers, we're going to be having panels, etc., and all of these other activations that are coming soon. So as a member, you get to be a part of those as well. So here are some upcoming events. If you are not ready to raise yet, and you've kind of determined that through this call as we're talking about pre-seed or whatever it might be, or you're just in the ideation stage and you're what I call raise curious, you can join us for a Raise Ready boot camp that is coming soon. Priscilla's going to drop the link in the chat and you can fill out that form and we'll send more information as soon as we have an idea of the timing on that one. In January, we're going to have an angel investor spotlight and ask me anything with an angel investor where founders, a part of our community and not a part of our community, can ask one of our very prolific investors on the site questions. I think that's really valuable to see things through an investor lens. And then in February, we're hosting an angel tank. So Cherub members will get an opportunity to pitch a panel of angels. In March, we will be at South by. If you're in the area, I'm sure we'll have something public and a few things private. So those are just some examples of some of the activity that we have coming up. So thank you guys for your time and your attention today. We really appreciate it. We are really looking to break down the barriers between angel investors and founders and really congregate these groups of very powerful people to push the innovation economy forward in these category defining brands, giving them an opportunity to be seen and heard and grow. So I hope that you can see that and feel that in what we're building here. And we're really excited for the future. So we're happy to take some questions. We literally have 2 minutes. So if they are about what stage you're at, I think let's table those. And I think we're going to have a separate workshop for that. But if you have any questions about the platform, about Cherub, about anything that we can answer in that regard, please drop them in the chat and Priscilla can be your Vanna White voice. Um,
I think we're good with questions. Most of the
okay,
questions were
we're
regarding
about
the
stage.
stages.
Okay.
So,
Well,
but
we're
again, if you,
obviously gonna have a
I
workshop
think
on
if you
that.
guys have any questions, feel free to drop it in. We have like 2 minutes left, but I think so far we're good.
Also, let us know, like for the pre-seed workshop, the types of questions that you have. Like, write Heidi back, email her. I
Yeah.
think we're really curious. We want to make that helpful for you all. And then we also, I think we'll send you again, if you haven't joined our newsletter yet, there's a lot of really good content there. I've heard a lot of people say, like, oh, I haven't signed up yet because I'm not ready to raise, but I'm a part of your newsletter and that's helpful. And we share a lot of links to grants and non-dilutive funding. And we have an archive of a lot of really great resources just around things like what is debt equity financing? Should I even fundraise? All of that stuff.
Mhm.
So we're, really passionate about sharing that with the founder community.
Yes, and we do have that Raise Ready boot camp as an option as well. So that should be in the chat. Feel free to email me. I am here for the community and to answer your questions. It's Heidi, Heidi at investwithcherub.com. And thank you all for joining us again on 11/11. I hope you see what we did there. Wink. Angel numbers for those of you guys who are not privy, but thank you guys so much for spending your time and for getting to know a little bit about us. We look forward to seeing you out there in the ecosystem and keep building, keep going. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.